Hey, I'm Creech, and this is Creech in Cars. Today we're going to be talking about the electrification of an absolute American icon, the Corvette. So, we all know that the day will come when electric cars will dominate the road, and we are also aware that the days of big V8s and even some V6s are incredibly numbered. So the question is, how will this affect the Corvette? GM has two options with this electric transition. Option number one would be to cancel the Corvette and produce a new model to be its electric flagship sports car. Option number two is to just put an electric powertrain in the Corvette, and it certainly appears that GM has chosen the latter. Today I'm going to be going over what we know so far about a potential electric Corvette and the hybrid Corvette. So GM plans to release a hybrid powertrain in the Corvette by 2023 or 2024, and a fully electric one should come soon after. Of course, the electric one should be based on the ultra-flexible Ultium platform, which we've already gotten to see in the Cadillac Lyriq, and this platform is supposed to be flexible enough to be used in something like a luxury SUV, as well as a high-performance car like the Corvette. Car and Driver estimates that the fully electric Corvette will retail with a starting price of around $100,000. All the following information mostly applies to the hybrid so far, although I think it's safe to assume that many of the specs will transfer over. The hybrid and electric powertrain should have around 600 horsepower and get to 60 in around 3 seconds. The acceleration will certainly be nice, but the main challenge here would be the higher speed performance around a track that EVs can struggle with. I think it would be really cool of GM to make a multi-speed transmission for the EV and make the first EV manual, but that won't happen as manual Corvettes are already dead. But just a thought I had. The hybrid and or the fully electric Corvette will probably be called the ERAY. It's unclear so far if this term applies to just one or to both of the cars, or what the delineation will be when it comes to naming each powertrain or badging or anything like that. What we do know for certain is that GM has trademarked the ERAY name and will certainly use this with one of them, or maybe both. Which leads into my next point. We don't really know much about trim levels. I think the first hybrid and electric Corvettes we see won't really have any sort of special trim levels attached to them. You will just have kind of the basic options that you get with a Stingray. And then later on, we will have a electric Z06 or electric ZR1. I definitely wouldn't expect to see that for the first year or potentially even 3 or 4 years until the electric Corvette can really be established in the market. Back to the specs though, it will have 6-piston calipers in the front and 4-piston calipers in the rear to slow you down when you are possibly exceeding the speed limit. Weight is a potential issue with an electric Corvette, as the trade-off for a decent range is a heavy set of batteries, and we could see the Corvette close in on 4,000 pounds, especially if there's an extended range option. At that weight, it would definitely look more like a muscle car than a sports car. The hybrid and likely the EV as well will only be offered with all-wheel drive, while the induction motor on the EV will reportedly sit on the front axle. Another factor that I think deserves a mention is noise. Obviously, the hybrid will not make the same music as the current V8, as it will likely have a V6, and the EV will hardly make any noise, so this is a potential issue for fans of the V8 noise like myself. Porsche has patents for induction motor resonators, as they call them, to give EVs a little more life, but that's a topic for another video. I do think it would be interesting if GM could figure something out like that, but so far nothing has come to light about that, and we can assume that they just really won't make all that much noise. So that's not an incredible amount of information, but the hybrid and electric Corvettes are definitely happening. The real question here is, will it be successful? Can GM really deliver on its first attempt at an electric sports car? There's no amount of research that can provide a certain answer here, but one thing we can do is look back over the history of GM and the Corvette. As some of you might know, GM used to be at the forefront of EV and battery research and development. GM produced the EV1 from 1996 to 1999, and that was heavily based on the Impact concept, which debuted all the way back in 1990, 32 years ago. Over 1,000 units of the EV1 were produced and leased to customers for a limited period of time. Usually in less than a year, GM would recall the vehicle and destroy it. At the end of this experiment, GM concluded that EVs were too niche and unprofitable, at least at the time. Even though this was nothing more than an experiment, shows how far ahead GM was 20 to 30 years ago. Long story short, A condition of the bailout loan GM received following the 2008 financial crisis required the automaker to significantly cut back production and research. Along with many subsidiaries and other projects, the EV division was canceled, and GM lost a lot of its footing in EVs by the time that would have been really useful for times like now. The other factor at play here is GM's history with the Corvette. GM has consistently underdelivered with other Chevy cars, and especially with Cadillac. But the American supercar has always been a bright spot in the GM lineup. From the debut of the mid-engine C8 to the Lamborghini fighting C7 ZR1 to the original Z06, the Corvette has always shown that GM is certainly capable of bringing the goods when it comes to one particular sports car. In conclusion, this transition certainly has the potential to be disastrous for the Corvette's legacy, but it could be just as likely to maintain the Corvette's integral place in American car culture. Only time will tell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.